Hello and welcome to this week's Traumaplicity podcast episode with your host, Dr. Amanda Helman. That's me. And we are talking in this series about beliefs. And it's all about I am statements or I have statements that have kept you back. The Traumaplicity podcast is trauma plus simplicity. And what it means is simple steps to help the brain know it's okay to put the guard down and learn how to think differently. And what I'm doing in this series is 10 different beliefs that are high and prevalent based on many coaches and clients I've had and gotten to coach and their belief systems and how it impacts not only you, but your thinking, your families, your life, your lifestyles, and how to undo that. I'm actually writing a book about it. So those first are the first 10 actually episodes. And then I'm going to have guests, actually a lot of the people I coach who are going to share their belief and how I help them coach, help them really go through it. What were some of the coaching techniques they still may use, and how just really for you to know how can this help you if you are having I am statements or beliefs that really need to shift. Come see me because I do individual coaching. I have group coaching called Internal Gold, and I also have author group coaching. So if you're an author or creative, I help you really unlock and unleash not just the negative narratives, but rewire your brain, learn brain skills, and help you move into your vision for your life. And so this week in the series is about I am heard. And how many times do you feel heard? I've heard and when I have different beliefs that I hear for each client, many people, I'd say over 90%, have I am heard on there, and it could be a pain point, whether it's the top one or not. It is a pain point for them. They feel as if their voice is not heard, that they cannot speak, that they can only speak certain places, that they're heard with some people, but not other people. Why do I bother speaking? And all kinds of thoughts that happen. And guess what? It often doesn't happen when you're older, although different circumstances, people, and situations may be repeated. And your triggers and your pain with it continues to grow because it happened a long time ago and perhaps many different circumstances, and you didn't have the words, you didn't have the expression to share about it. And so the belief, I am heard. How many of you, if you say that out loud now, it's a high pain point or you feel it in your body? One thing I tell my clients to do is say it out loud because we can feel head to toe where we might have pain with that. And it's very interesting and people are surprised. It's like, well, I just thought it. Well, yeah, thinking it versus saying it are two different things. And so I am heard. And I'm not even showing it to you because sometimes we get distracted with seeing the words I am heard. And let's just say many people don't feel heard. How many people are afraid of public speaking? Many people. It says over 75%. I would beg to differ. Over 90% of people have some fear and variation until you really work through it to speak. And so, how many of you feel uncomfortable at times speaking, or you overthink, or you're like, oh, I should have said this, and you start to beat yourself up afterwards? That's what happens when we feel like we're not heard. We shut down. We might get angry, and all of a sudden, you keep replaying in your head everything you could have said to that person, and you might hold in anger or be frustrated because you never said anything. And then you might beat yourself up because you didn't say something instead of being able to express yourself. A lot of times we learn this in families. This is a family generational pattern where our families may have heard and been taught don't speak. There might have been oppression or slavery or not the things that happened that made people say nope, right? All kinds of traumas, generational trauma, sexual trauma, physical trauma, emotional trauma, all kinds of trauma shut our voice down. It tries to do that. And so in your life, where has that happened? Because that's what we're wanting to get to. So when we say I am heard, it's really the true belief. The negative is I am unheard. And some people are like, oh, I can't go there. No, you actually have to expose and uncover the hidden roots for you to heal. Otherwise, we can't heal if we don't uncover it. And so you uncover it, and then you identify, well, I feel unheard. I feel misunderstood. I feel not listened to. I feel like people are talking over me, that my words don't matter, that my words aren't as valuable, that I can only share with certain people, that they'll judge me. And so these are all different hidden beliefs within I am heard. And what happens then is if we've heard this when we were a kid or we perceived during an event that we were not heard, that may stay with us in our memory and our emotions. And all of a sudden we start believing that we're not heard. And then every time we want to be heard, we start not doing it. We start shutting down. And we might see our family do that. And we might see ourselves do that. And that's this repeated cycle that needs to be broken. The agreement with it, the belief about it, and how we behave. And this takes time. All of us have different beliefs. None of us are exempt from going through beliefs. And guess what? Multiple times. I've heard people say, oh, yeah, I've dealt with that. And I want to beg and differ and say, probably not. Because as much as I've broken through beliefs, there are still things that I'm like, oh my gosh, there's more to really deal with. And I call it that head to toe belief system. We need head to toe to release the emotions, the thinking about it, the generational beliefs about this false statements we're thinking, and be able to then rewire our brain to know the truth. And so I am heard impacts a lot. It impacts how you speak to other people, your relationship with yourself, your relationship with your family, your relationship with a significant other, your relationship with your peers and your colleagues and your friends, even what your dreams are. If you know that you're called to speak, you may say, nope, other people said I'm not. People may have criticized you, and people may have said your voice doesn't matter. Whether they said it, they may have non-verbally told you that. And all of a sudden, you're getting all of these words spoken over you over time. And what happens? We start shutting down and we start thinking other people have greater skills than we do. And that's just not true. You are loved, valued, worthy, and you are heard. Your voice matters, whether you use a voice box, whether you are speaking with your voice, whether it's a small whisper or a loud megaphone voice. All voices have a specific frequency and sound that need to be released to share not just your story, but who you are and the gifts that you bring. And so I want to encourage all of you, if that's you, that when you feel not heard, I want you to ask, what is the root of it? When did this begin? And sometimes we can get to some parts of it and we think that we're getting there. But if we haven't gotten to the event, we may be getting to some parts. But if we haven't completely uprooted it, it's going to come up again and again. And so when do you not feel heard? What needs to shift? What's one simple thing you can do this week to use your voice? I would love to hear. You should comment on this page or the YouTube page, and just know that all of these belief podcasts not only will be on the Traumaplicity, but I'm going to be using some of these on my coaching programs with Dr. Amanda Helman. It's going to be my YouTube channel, featuring and highlighting a lot of my different clients and how they found their voice, how they identified some of their goals, and they got through and rewired their brain. So stay tuned, not only for Traumaplicity, but my actual page where I talk to you about coaching programs, techniques, and how you can move forward in your day each and every week. All right. Take care, everybody. Remember, the Traumaplicity podcast takes the simplicity, the trauma, the negative experiences, and helps you shift your brain and know that it takes one simple step. So for feeling unheard, one simple step might be using your voice. It could be that you're going to speak into your phone. You're going to share your voice with one person. You're going to do one simple step this week to know that you're heard. And the Traumaplicity podcast happens every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on the Amanda Helman Author and Speaker Show on the YouTube channel. And again, check it out because it's going to help you. I want you to think about it. And I have a cognitive mapping process that I'm actually going to be sharing about on my coaching program page and probably on the Traumaplicity podcast, but it'll also be in my book. It's a tool. It's a tool that I've used, but I've tweaked that really helps you get to flip the negative thinking statement to the positive. All right. Be well, everybody.